Greetings, exiles. And it's time for a new journey. No currency. No idols. Just what I like. This time it will be Behemoth with Bladestorm of Uncertainty. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting series, and most importantly, it's going to be a challenge. Let's go. No spell, no mana, no problems. Sounds good. I'm starting with Sunder because it's a very good skill for leveling. Thank you. 5 links. Just what I need. Merc Lab. Let's test my luck. Perfect. I could definitely use a small starting capital for my journey. But that was a mistake. I should have chosen volcanic fissure because the volcanic fissure of snaking costs a lot more. Oh well. Back to the Merc Lab. That was quick. But I won't be selling this gem because this is the next stage in my journey. Unfortunately, at this point, I can't use Bladestorm because it requires expensive gear and I don't have the currency to buy that gear. Also, I've been wanting to try the volcanic fissure of snaking for a long time because I've been told about it for a long time. About the fact that it's a very good and strong skill. Let's level up volcanic fissure. And let's go check my old friend. Once again, this guy lost. Let's buy a new axe. Nice. And then let's go run the maps looking for lucky drops. Speaking of which, volcanic fissure of snaking is a very nice skill. Fissures that travel towards other enemies and erupt several times make the mapping process very pleasant and convenient. But for damage we need to use our Warcries, and this is obviously not the gameplay that many players will like. I'm not a fan of Warcries piano either, but I think I can play this build once. For the sake of experimentation. And here is the first lucky drop. Some money for future upgrades. Let's get some cool armor now. Wow. Now our character's really big. It's hilarious. And 5 links. I also need a new ring. Now we can complete the last lab. Cool. Easy money. Today is a very easy lab, so I decided to try to earn some currency there. Overall, not a bad way to earn 100 Chaos Orbs and get quality for your gems. Back to our beloved maps. First Divine Orb. Very good. And minor quest bosses. No good loot. Sag. Before I go for my first Void Stones, I need a new ring. And new gloves. Now I'm ready for battle. To be honest, at this point, I'm a little short on damage. And I think I've overdone with my defense. Because at this stage I have almost 6,000 HP, 30 Fortify, 80 max resistance and 5 endurance charges, which is an overkill because this is a softcore league after all. But on the other hand, I still use weapons for 10C with 5 links. So that's my problem and not the problem of the build in general. And this phase is a bit problematic for us because we don't have Flame Dash or Frost Blink. But 6 portals solve almost any problem in this game. Nice. Now it's time to consider how I'm going to earn currency for my upgrades, because I don't plan to play with volcanic fissure of snaking forever. I have a pretty humble budget, to be honest. So this time I decided to try blight. Silver and golden oils are relatively expensive and idols for this strategy are cheap. I also added syndicate. Gravicious and Katarina can give us some divine orbs. Let's see what I ended up with. Fake Tink. This one is the real one. And another one. Honestly, that was unexpected. And another one? No way. Don't say a word about the streamer client. Please. What have we got here? Nothing interesting. Streamer client is a myth, because if I had one, Nameless Seer would give me mage blood. Now that's a big tink. And more stuff from Syndicate. Well, even if you ignore the lucky drop from Gravicious, overall this is not a bad strategy that will help you get some divine orbs for your upgrades. Especially if you are on a tight budget and can't buy expensive idols. But don't expect countless riches from this strategy. Now I can upgrade my weapons, buy 6 links and good clusters. But I won't do that, because it's time to make a swap to my main skill. I've delayed this moment long enough, and I can't wait any longer. Let's start shopping. Unique belt. One of the key items for the build. Critical damage is the best way to get a lot of damage in the endgame, and this node allows us to get a very high critical strike chance with minimal cost. But for that we have to be at low life, and Coward's Legacy helps us with that. Also, there is a very strong support gem that also requires low life, and with this unique belt I can use it without problems. I also need a new weapon. Ideally it should be a Void Forge. But unfortunately it's out of my budget. Eventually I will buy this unique sword, but for now I need some kind of temporary alternative. Something like this. A very nice sword for a good price. Next, I need new armor. Another unique item. And a helmet to go along with the armor. Let's talk more about this item and why it is very powerful. Its main power is that it gives us spirit charges, and we gain 5% of physical damage as extra damage of each element per spirit charge. Well, since we're Behemoth and all our spells are disabled, we won't lose our charges. And as you might have already guessed, there will be a lot of abyssal jewels in this build, and we'll end up with a lot of bonus damage. But to be honest, this is also a temporary item. First of all, it doesn't combo well with Void Forge. Secondly, these spirit charges are pretty clunky in boss battles, and without them we have 0 damage. So the endgame version of this build will be without this unique helmet, but for now it is the best and slot item for us. Unique gloves. And a large cluster. I'll buy one. I'll craft the other one. In the last video, I already crafted a similar cluster, and in the comments you advised me to use Fossil instead of Harvestcraft. Honestly, I don't like this idea, but why not? A little price comparison between fossils and Life Force. It's not the most optimal option, but it's a good start. Amulet. Since we can't use most of the gems, we have a lot of empty sockets. So this amulet will give us a lot of accuracy, life, and fix our resistances. And the last item. A new ring. To fix our resistances and intelligence. I think that's it for now. Let's do a quick respec and see what I ended up with. Oh no, I don't have enough intelligence. I need another ring. Now we're good. Let's keep shopping. New boots. Nothing special. Glorious vanity with Awana for Overleach. I really like Overleach because it gives a lot of survivability and activates these nodes that give us a lot of damage. Let's recolor our sockets. It's important in this build. Now the most essential thing for this build. Abyss Jewels. I need a lot of them. I'll start with the unique one. There are a lot of options here, but for starters, I'm interested in the following stats: life, accuracy, and critical multiplier. Now I need jewels with shock avoidance. In combination with this jewel, I get elemental ailment immunity. Very nice. And more abyss jewels. And the final purchase. This is a jewel for reducing the effect of curses on you. It's been a long shopping trip, but finally the build is ready. Or rather, the basic version of it. Let's see what I ended up with. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now let's talk about this build in more detail. I'll start with our main skill, Bladestorm of Uncertainty. It's a very cool skill. Spin to win. Kind of. But seriously, it has two parts. The first is an attack that deals damage around us, and the second part is a storm that we leave behind us. It lasts for 3 seconds, and we can have up to 4 of these storms. Also, each of these storms deals damage. If we look at my POB, my DPS is only 2.3 million. But we have 4 more storms. And each of our storms does over 1 million damage. That gives us a total of almost 7 million DPS. Also, map clearing with this skill is pretty good and nice. As for our defense, it's not so good. Our max hit is only 31,000. And all because we have no evasion, armor, or block. But our max elemental hit is almost 45,000, which is a pretty good number. Our max physical hit is also not very big, but that's not the biggest problem. Our main defense is Fortify, Endurance Charges, and Overleach. So at the beginning of the map we are very vulnerable because we don't have all of these defense layers. That's why I recommend using this unique flask. At the beginning of the map we attack a few times, create storms, then use the flask a few times and kill the worms which appear. This is how we get our Fortify, Overleach, and maybe Endurance Charges. Also, this flask is useful in boss battles. These simple actions greatly improve our survivability. Overall, I like this build because it gives some challenges, and that's exactly what I like. Also, I like this clean skill bar. Very satisfying. But unfortunately, I can't recommend this build to my viewers because it's pretty specific. We have a fair amount of problems that need to be solved with divine orbs, and overall, it's going to be an expensive build. But on the other hand, when will you ever get a chance to play without spells? I have a lot of upgrades ahead of me that will improve survivability and of course damage. But all of that will be in part 2. Thank you all for watching and commenting. I appreciate it. Also, I will be very grateful for your likes and subscription. Bye everyone, and see you in the new video.